y'all, it's Kay from the Literary Apothecary, and welcome back to my channel. And welcome back to another bi-weekly reading vlog. This is for the weeks of June 18th to July 1st. So by the time you're seeing this, happy July. Happy 4th of July weekend. This week I will be working through, of course, Middlemarch. I'm making really good progress on that now. Voyage of the Forgotten, I really hope to finish that within the next couple of days. Lord of Chaos, I'm scheduled to on track to finish that this week. The Traitors We Are, I definitely need to finish by Sunday because we have our self-pub Sunday with Michael Roberti on Sunday the 25th. I will link that down in the description below. I'm hoping that John and I can make some progress on I Can't Make This Up and Unmasking Autism. Things that I will be starting this week, hopefully when I finish some other books, include A Feast for Crows, book 4 in the Song of Ice and Fire series. My hold for my audiobook just came available on the library. And also A River Enchanted, which is my patron pick of the month picked by Sharon. So that's going to be my reading for this week, and I will check in again very soon. Bye. Hey y'all, checking in one last time for this bi-weekly reading vlog. I've got 4 books to update y'all on that I finished since the last check-in, so bear with me. It's going to be a long one. We've got The Lord of Chaos by Robert Jordan, book 6 in the Wheel of Time series. This one I gave 3.5 out of 5 stars. It's probably my least favorite book in the series so far. It felt a bit boring for most of the book to me. Just a lot of the same that we got in the previous books, and felt like it was unnecessarily drawn out. But there were some moments that I absolutely loved and was amazed by. So that's why it's not as low as other people might have rated it, but still I think the lowest in the Wheel of Time series for me so far. After that, I finished The Traitors We Are by Michael Roberti. This is book 1 in the Crown and Tide series, and this I read for our Self-Pub Sunday episode, and I will link that in the description below. We had an absolutely fantastic chat with Michael Roberti about not only Traitors We Are, which is an SPFBO entry, but also the prequel novella that I read before this, The Revenge of Thousands. This one, The Traitors We Are, I gave 4 out of 5 stars. Thought it had good characters, great storytelling, and the foreshadowing was done like perfectly. I had a feeling certain things were going to happen to certain characters, but I had no idea how or when they would happen. And when it did happen, I was completely surprised by how it happened. So I thought his foreshadowing was really well done there. As I mentioned in our live show Self-Pub Sunday episode, I thought, for me at least, the type of writer that I am, reading The Revenge of Thousands first before The Traitors We Are helped me in 2 ways. One, and most importantly, it helped me have attachments to some of the characters that we follow throughout The Traitors We Are. Without that, I don't know that I would have felt the same for certain characters. And I know certainly a couple moments in The Traitors We Are would have fallen on me completely different if I didn't read The Revenge of Thousands before and get to know these characters before we jump into the world of The Traitors We Are. So for me, as a reader that needs that attachment to characters, I thought that it was definitely beneficial to read The Revenge of Thousands first. If you're more of a plot-driven character, you might not be as bothered by it. It might not read the same to you, but for me, I needed that attachment, and I got that a little bit through The Revenge of Thousands. The other thing that I thought was beneficial for me, so Michael Roberti wrote The Traitors We Are first, and then he wrote The Revenge of Thousands, even though it's the prequel novella. And you can see, just comparing the 2 books, how much his writing has grown just reading the really short novella, like true novella form. I think it's less than 150 pages. But his writing, at least in my point of view, grew dramatically from The Traitors We Are to The Revenge of Thousands. And I can't wait to see what he gives us in book 2, A Grave for Us All, which he's working on right now. Let's see. And next up we have The Voyage of the Forgotten by Nick Martell. This is the final book in the Legacy of the Mercenary King series. These next 2 books are actually books that were carryovers from May and even beyond that. I'll get to that in just a minute. But The Voyage of the Forgotten, I gave this one 4.5 out of 5 stars. While I really, really enjoyed it, and Martell did some incredible things in this book that I definitely want to see more of. It felt very different than the first 2 books for me, and the chapter numbers went backwards as you went through the book, and that threw me off so much reading it, because I was trying to put all of my thoughts and comments in Discord for a buddy read, and it made it really hard to try to keep everything straight. But aside from that, this book was really good. The ending left it open for maybe a spin-off series. It was kind of an ending, you know, it was an ending, definitely. It wasn't a cliffhanger, but it left room for more in the story to be told, maybe from different points of views than we got in these first 3 books. So I am very much looking forward to seeing what else Nick Martell brings our way. And then the last book that I finished for this bi-weekly reading vlog is Middlemarch by George Eliot. I finally finished this book. If you've been following the channel, you know I've been reading this since like the end of April, and it feels like it's been absolutely forever, because it really has been forever. I ended up rating this book 4 out of 5 stars. It has great characters, but there's a lot of them, and they're always doing a lot of things. So it was hard to keep track of who was doing what and where and why and when they're all moving parts at the same time. But the world building, and I know we usually only use that word for, say, like fantasy or science fiction books, but this is a fictional world, and George Eliot, even though I imagine she based it off of at least certain places, realistic places, she did build this world on her own. And so I'm using the word world building in reference to Middlemarch, because this community of Middlemarch, you know, it's a small community in this fictionalized England, but it felt huge. It felt like we were in, say, like London, which we aren't, because characters talk about going to London. It felt, that's how big this town of Middlemarch felt. And that's partly because of all the characters, but just because of the way that George Eliot writes and has them interacting with each other, and different characters are interacting with different characters for different reasons and at different times in the book, just made it feel like this world was ginormous. So that's probably going to be my reading for the month of June. Today is the last day of June, and I don't see myself being able to finish any of the other books I have started before the end of today. So that will be my kind of wrap up to the June reading. This weekend, going into July, I'll be hopefully this weekend sometime finishing up A River Enchanted, because y'all, I am obsessed with that book. I absolutely love it so much. It's so good. It's enchanting. It's addictive. I just want to keep reading that book. I will also be reading Equal Rights by Terry Pratchett and A Feast for Crows by George R. R. Martin, the 4th book, I think it is, in A Song of Ice and Fire series. I get a little bit confused, lose track of all these different books and series and which one it is in the series if I don't have it written down. So if it's not the 4th book, someone will correct me in the comments, I'm sure. But so that's it for now. Let me know in the comments below, what was your favorite reading moment from the past 2 weeks, and what are you looking forward to reading the most in the next 2 weeks? As always, my Patreon and my Discord information will be in the description below. Keep reading, and I love y'all to the moon and back. Bye.